Welcome to the Armchair GM's podcast with your hosts Dylan Simpson and Chris Ruback.
Here we are, everybody. Another show. We're talking trades. We're talking deadline. We're talking Calgary Flames and the NHL. I'm Chris. You know Dylan. Let's get it going, Dylan. What you got for us?
Well, let's start talking about our latest acquisition. Came last night, right before the game, where we beat New Jersey 6-3, I believe. But the big news of the day was that we got Calle Jarnkrok, Elias Lindholm's cousin, Jacob Markstrom's good friend, and got him with half salary retained, so he's only worth about $1 million on our cap. Good bottom six, middle six, shutdown type of guy. What do you think?
I'm pretty excited. You and I talked about him before the show tonight, and I didn't really know a lot about him. I've seen him, but he's always been kind of, bottom six role, so he's never really jumped off the page. I do find him when he's steady. He plays a pretty decent 200-foot game, which I'm, obviously excited about. Me and the way I like my centers to be, right? He comes at a pretty darn good cap hit, and so obviously we had to make that extra draft pick, I guess, available just to get them to retain,
which is
the salary. Yeah, exactly.
To be honest, getting Wolf with a seventh is such a rarity. Like a seventh is usually going to be a guy who's playing in high school and never makes it to college ranks, even. So
yeah, I feel like the Flames have hit more on their late round picks than their first and second for the most part, but
lately,
yeah. But no, you're right. Giving up a second, a third, so a second this year, a third next year, and then a seventh in 2024. Yeah, I'm totally fine with that trade.
And let's be honest about the second that we gave up. That's Florida's second that we got in the Sam Bennett trade.
Yeah,
Florida's second round pick is bound to be like 70 overall. Like it's going to be basically a third round pick. So we basically traded 2 third round picks and a seventh for Calle Jarnkrok.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because they're not going to be selecting earlier than 28 this year.
Yeah, exactly.
So exactly. You're right. Yeah, that's borderline third line. So or third round. So effectively trading off 2 third round picks for Calle is, I think, a pretty good value for the dollar. And again, we're still sitting under the cap, which is great. We still have room to play around a little bit potentially, depending on what Brad has up his sleeve.
Not a whole bunch, but
not a lot. No, we're still sitting around that 800,000 mark, but which is obviously not great.
Depth defenseman.
That is a depth defenseman,
which is what we need. I really like the deal, and the way I look at it is because of which picks we traded, not only for this but also for Toffoli. We basically ended up trading, if you package all those deals together, we basically ended up trading Sam Bennett, who wanted out and was going to be drafted by Seattle if we didn't get something for him in the first place.
Yeah.
Which, we can argue all day about how effective he's been in Florida, but he wasn't effective in Calgary. And we got something for him. And what we got for him turned out to be basically trading Sam Bennett and a first-round pick for both Toffoli and Jarnkrok, which is say okay with me. That's
100%.
like for 2.5 years of Tyler Toffoli, who's going to net you 20, 25 goals, and at least 1 year of Jarnkrok, who I could see not being just a rental. If we manage to move some money out in the summer, I could see, just knowing, obviously good friends with guys on the team and cousins with Lindholm, and I could see him re-signing for not much.
That goes a long ways, right? I mean, obviously family's family and cousins, that's awesome, but even to be friends with other players and train with other players in Sweden,
Absolutely.
like it's great. It's just instant chemistry. Obviously I hope that it shows on the ice as well. Like, he won't be playing with Lindholm, other than potentially a penalty kill role.
I could see that. That would be interesting. Yeah.
It would be interesting, right? Because they're both. I mean, obviously we know who Lindholm is. I mean, he's our best at every section of the ice, really, as far as I'm concerned. The full 200-foot game, power play, penalty kill. So why not bring his cousin in? That they train together and work out together, and they're going to be super tight. And I would imagine their games are going to be reasonably close when it comes to that defensive style, which
they're very similar from what I've seen of Jarnkrok. It's a very similar game.
Yeah.
They score from the same area. Jarnkrok doesn't score nearly as much as Lindholm does. So
sure.
Let's not get overhyped about that.
But you know what? Before Lindholm got here, he didn't score as much as Lindholm does before he got here either, right?
That's true. But Jarnkrok's a good, half a point a game outside scoring threat, kind of like Lindholm.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty has a wicked wrist shot.
Yeah.
Seems like he's pretty good defensively. Like, again, he's not Lindholm, but he plays a similar game, just not the same caliber.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree. And I mean, who knows? Maybe he'll benefit greatly from Sutter, right?
That would be great.
Teach him more of that defensive responsibility, and he's obviously not going to be super physical, right? I mean, he's not a big kid. He's still, he's 186 at 5'11". Yeah. So I mean, he'll hit, but he's not going to be an opposing force. So but I mean, if you can get him into that slightly more physical, which a lot of the Flames have been this year, just a bit more than last year, which that little bit of a change has really transitioned on the ice very well to add to our possession game.
And if you think about where Jarnkrok comes from, right? Like, obviously he came from Seattle, but he played in Nashville, and
that's right,
for years. And what style has Nashville played for?
Exactly, always his
career,
always right? Big and tough, right?
Big and tough, physical, defensively, generally solid. Mm-hmm. So I think he'll fit in great, and I'm really excited. I'm not sitting here being like, oh, this guy's going to get 30 goals or whatever. He's probably going to be, like, if you prorate him to a whole season, he's probably going to be
he could be 20
18 goals and 18 assists.
Sure. Yeah,
like
that. I mean, it's like his career high is 16 goals, right?
Yeah.
Which is fine for a bottom six guy, and there's nothing wrong with that. As long as he plays the game the right way. And I mean, who knows? I mean, he comes in here and loves who he's playing with and what he's doing. Likes the new system. I mean, who's to say that next year he doesn't get 20 goals? I mean, there's nothing
exactly. And you're looking at his stats right now?
Yeah.
So I was taking a glance earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe he almost always has fairly even goals to assists.
They are very even. Yes, absolutely. Career number 94 goals and 117 assists. Like that's pretty decent, right? Like as far as even so I mean, he's a team player. Nashville is very well known for their team play, right? Everybody helps everybody, and they don't really have any true superstars, but they
Forsberg.
sure, yeah, yeah. But in reality, like we have two, maybe three on our team as it sits right
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
and and we're just starting to win this season with that. Where Nashville
exactly.
went through a lot of years of winning and just being, one of the top teams and a team that you were
They
afraid to
just
go into playoffs with, right?
they just had like you were saying, like yeah, maybe Forsberg, but for the most part, they just had a complete team.
Mhm. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I would call the
yeah,
Predators of maybe like 3 years ago,
sure.
maybe like 5 years before that type of thing. They
Yeah,
were just a really complete complete team.
yeah, absolutely. And obviously, the last couple of seasons it hasn't gone great for them. The team's getting up there in age, and obviously they ran into some contract issues. Also, having goaltending kind of drop off and things like that doesn't help, right? Because Rene was a pretty big reason for their success, right?
He was a spectacular goalie, and Saros also
Sure,
now is a fairly spectacular goalie,
he
and
is.
he's small, which is an interesting. We were just
He
talking
is.
about Mike Vernon off air
Yeah.
and how small he is. Saros is a little bigger than Vernon, but
My daughter's a little bit bigger than Vernon, uh, but
and
and
Vernon's a
she's
Stanley Cup winning goalie, so
right.
sometimes
That's what I'm saying. Like, size doesn't matter. I mean, you two can make it.
yeah. Um, so here's an interesting fact about Calle Jarnkrok's name.
Okay.
Jarnkrok translates um, fairly exactly in Swedish to Ironhook. I didn't know that before. I was doing my Google and research about him the last couple days and saw that pretty
So that I mean
solid.
that to me just says right now like he's going to be tough as nails.
Exactly.
You know, I mean
Exactly.
if he doesn't skate on the ice with a sheep horn in his hand, I'm going to be very disappointed.
All
Yeah,
right. Well, let's move on a little bit more.
Yeah.
A little bit more about the trade deadline here. Well, actually,
Yeah.
a lot more the trade deadline. Um, I'm hearing. I read an article on the Score that had, I believe, Frank Saravalli linking the Flames trying to possibly get Dvorak
Mhm.
out of Arizona, which makes no sense to me because we have no cap space. But maybe they found a trade partner with Monahan. I don't know. I don't particularly think it's a super possible, probable
Yeah.
thing. It's definitely possible, but I don't think it's specifically probable.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think it's an interesting idea, but we would be getting Dvorak from Montreal because that's where he was played this season.
Oh,
Um,
okay. For some reason, I thought he was in.
he was for his entire career until this year.
Okay.
Yeah. So given his contract, I mean, he's 4.45, which I don't know. Like that's a lot for a left wing with his production. I'll say. Um,
Yeah.
you know,
How many years does he have left?
and on that contract,
Yeah.
he has. Sorry, a little slow
Oh,
on
no
the
worries.
pen. He has until the end of the 24-25 season.
She's got a couple years left.
Yeah,
Um,
so three
yeah.
years after this one. The last 2 years has a modified no trade, with an 8-team no trade list.
I'm sure he would be pretty okay with going to a team that is,
Mhm.
quote unquote, a contender. Am I
Yeah,
okay with saying that? I think I'm
I
okay with
mean,
saying.
we're without a doubt a playoff contender.
Yeah.
And I mean his modified doesn't kick in until 23-24 anyway. So as it
Okay.
is right now, we're good on that. Um,
Yeah.
Obviously, we would need to move a player like Monahan for that cap, and he has a 10-team no trade that he would have submitted at the beginning of the season. Given his his proximity to the Ontario region, as far as living and playing in junior and stuff like that. Potentially Montreal could be a spot that he would be
Maybe.
fine with moving, right? I mean,
Who
10
knows?
teams out of 31 is, that's a lot of trade partners you can potentially go with, right?
It sure is. I mean, I think you're going to have a hard time finding value, and if you were going to trade Monahan for Dvorak, let's say, I don't know what Dvorak's stat line is this year, but I'd have to say you'd probably have to add a prospect or a pick, because Monahan's just been so ineffective offensively this year.
Yeah.
And last year, and yeah.
Yeah, no, and that's fair. As it sits right now, Monahan has more points than Dvorak.
Oh, really?
With 8 goals, 14 assists, where Dvorak has 7 goals, 9 assists, 16 points, and a minus 17. Obviously on a shitty Montreal team, but still, they did go to the final last year.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is crazy, right? I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, Flames may be interested in Dvorak, and I'm pretty sure he played with Tkachuk and Junior there when them and Marner were on a line and ripped up the Calder Cup.
Yeah, the London Knights, right? That was I mean, that's really when you talk about that cup run for that team, Tkachuk and Marner are the two that you talk about every time, right?
Yeah.
You don't ever include the players that were there as well and contributed on the line, and so it's I wouldn't mind it. I mean, he's never really had fantastic numbers, but I mean he's still young, right? He's only 26 years old. So
so he's older than Tkachuk then? I believe.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, his career high is 38 points, right? So, I mean, the ceiling is pretty low as far as I'm concerned, and that would be my only other concern is getting a 4-time 30-point player at $4.5 million to me seems a bit steep.
Yeah, no, I agree. But here's my kind of comeback to that.
Mm-hmm.
I do agree with you, that is steep. But if you're moving out Monahan, then you're moving out somebody with $2 million, almost exactly, I believe, more.
Yeah.
And I feel like possibly moving Dvorak in the off season would be easier than Monahan.
Right. I was going to say, I mean, I like the idea of getting rid of, that $2 million. But at the end of the season, I truly think we're going to need all of Sean's contract to up Johnny, to up Mang. We've got Shillington. Like we've got a lot of players. Brad's going to be
important players.
Important, 100%. Yeah, important players that we want to move forward with, right? Yeah, I agree. And so that's my only hesitation when it comes to bringing in, like I've been saying for weeks, and honestly I've been saying for a couple of years, but that we need to get rid of Monahan, not because I think he's a bad player, because he's not. He's just having a bad couple of seasons. But we need his contract off. Yeah. Right? Like it needs to disappear.
I was having kind of a war of words with somebody online. Shockingly, I never do that.
You were having like a light discussion?
Yes, I was having a light discussion with somebody who was, pro Monahan. Don't get me wrong. I loved Monahan for many years. I've stated on the air a few times.
Was that Calle? That was Calle, wasn't it? Like an hour ago?
I can't remember who the person was, honestly,
Yeah.
but it was like an hour ago.
Yeah. I think I read that.
Yeah, and like again, Monahan used to be, one of my favorite players on the team, and I like Monahan. He's obviously loved in the room.
Mhm.
But my biggest thing is when you're bringing $1.5 million worth of value to the team and your contract is 6.4 almost,
Yeah.
that's a problem.
100%. It is, right?
And it's the same with Lucic. I love Lucic, but when you're bringing 2.5 million worth of value to the team and you're making 5 point whatever, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Right.
In Luch's defense, though, he at least brings something else to the table.
Yeah. Oh,
You know
absolutely.
what I mean?
He'll spark the team in other ways. Monahan
Yeah.
doesn't have. Maybe Monahan has that in the locker room and we don't see it.
That's true. You never know.
I've heard that he does. So I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm not there.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we need Monahan off the books because we've got Michael Stone to sign, right? We got to get that man another year.
Another year, maybe give him about 750, 850.
Yeah. You know what? Let's give him a $50,000 raise. Let's get him in at 800,000, and let's the last couple of games are where he had to fill in because Shillington.
He actually
was suffering. He really did, right? I mean, like just talk about a true pro. Yeah. Like he sits on the bench for games and games and games, or not on the bench, or in the press box, and
he played one game in the first 50 of the season. Like holy,
right. Yeah.
And like the fact of the matter, like how much popcorn can a guy eat, and like he's still in fucking fantastic shape.
Well, the way he pushed McKinnon off the puck when he was coming through.
Oh, and he was on his offside.
Yeah,
he was on his side there. Yeah.
He quickly realized he wasn't going to get the puck off his stick, so he just pushed him out of the way. It was brilliant.
Yeah, McKinnon was about to skate right around him.
Yeah,
I
was worried. I'm not going to lie.
Just McKinnon on Vladar, and nobody wants to see that. So, instead, Stone pushed him away, and he ended up going behind the net instead.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah, sorry to take away from the trade talks there, but I just wanted to give Stone a shout out. Played a couple of games and didn't look out of place whatsoever, in my opinion.
He played great. Honestly, he that is, if we can find Michael Stone that shoots the other way, if we can and trade for him right now or tomorrow or the next day, I would be happy, and that would be all the moves we need to make. We need one more guy who's okay with sitting in the press box, who's shoots the other way, and who can sit for 5, 10, 15, 20 games, and then come in and play like Mike Stone does when he has to come in after 50 fucking games.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, we just need another $148,000 to make it move.
Right. So speaking of needing a depth defenseman or whatever we may need, I heard somebody saying we need a backup goalie, and I think that's ridiculous. But anyways,
who did you hear that from? Jesus Christ. What the hell is...
Dude, you know what Flames message boards and Facebook groups.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't even look at names anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I do remember a post last week after it's after Washington. Yeah, it was after Washington, wasn't it?
Actually.
Yeah. It was after Washington. It's like, oh my God. Like he didn't have his best game, but like
I thought you were gonna say after Colorado when he lost, but the team didn't score, so obviously he's gonna lose.
You're right. Yeah. I mean that would be a better explanation of really how this post was going. We lost to Colorado, and it's all Vladar's fault.
Yeah, but you're right about that Washington game. He didn't have his best game, but neither did anybody else. And if you're going to default a backup goalie. I believe that was his first game in like 20 or something. I can't remember the
It was
exact.
quite a while, and
He hadn't played in like 2 fucking months.
And it was the ass end of a back-to-back after playing our most heated rival. Like, what do you expect the team? Like, I mean, obviously I want the team to look better and play better on the ice, but I don't fault them for looking like a bag of shit after that emotional game before. And, just not that it wasn't a super exciting game against Edmonton, but still, it's just, you've got that hatred, you've got that rivalry. So then to follow it up, and now you're playing a pretty high octane offense in Washington.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like your people, the amount of people who shat on Vladar after that game blows my mind. Because don't get me wrong, he didn't have the greatest game. He's had some pretty good games, and he's had some pretty backup-ish games.
Sure,
that was a backup-ish game. The team didn't play well in front of him.
Well,
which
that's
is
right.
Fine. That's every once in a while that happens. But the worst. Like you're shitting on a guy for letting in a couple goals against literally possibly the best goal scorer in the history of the fucking league.
Yeah.
Possibly. We might be getting there in the next couple seasons. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, pick your battle, right? Like 100%. Yeah, he's got 2 shutouts this year? Yeah, 2 shutouts.
I believe.
Yeah, he's 8-5. And 2 shutouts. Like, simmer the fuck down.
What kind of backup? Like, how happy would you be if Kiprusoff had backups that could go 8-5?
I mean, it would have been refreshing at the time, because after 2004 we did the in the playoffs, out of playoffs, in the playoffs, out of playoffs. Not saying just because of goaltending, but it certainly would have helped.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at a minimum contract, and people need to just calm the frick down. Like, that's, he's 24 years old. He's
exactly, and he's played so he's 8. You said he's 8-5, so that's 13 games if my math is correct.
Yeah,
and he played 5 last year, so he hasn't even played 20 NHL games. Like,
right, yeah, 290 goals against and 903 save percentage with 2 shutouts. Like,
that's a backup,
right? Yeah, cut the kid some slack. Like, we don't need to replace him at the deadline for another backup, because we're not going to get better.
No,
for the price line, and we're literally not going to get better. Any professional backup that plays 1 game every 20 they're not going to look great to begin with.
No,
no. There's been nothing wrong with Vladar's game.
No.
He didn't lose. He didn't lose the game to Washington. Calgary lost the game to Washington,
and he didn't lose the game to Colorado. Well, he won the 1 game against Colorado, and then he lost the other game against Colorado, but he didn't lose that game.
No.
If you ask, like, since when does a coach say something like this? But if you ask Sutter, the scheduler lost that game for us.
Yeah, 100%.
Which is it's a stupid excuse, but at the same time, like, when you play 5 games in 7 days, and you're on second half of back-to-backs going against a team who's lost 3 games fucking season or whatever it is, like,
right. His game against Colorado, 935 save percentage,
and he still played really fucking good. The team was just flat.
29 saves out of 31.
Kemper was really fucking good that game.
That's the only reason why that happened. That and Calgary, for some reason, got into their old mantra of only shooting at the crest. We did a lot of that, soft shots to the crest, wristers to the crest. I was like, come on. We've lived
what? I wish Dubé would do that more, and Richie.
Right?
Speaking of Dubé and Richie, Richie, and Lucic all scored yesterday.
Isn't that amazing?
I went and had a nap and woke back up, and it was still happening. So I guess it actually happened.
Bizarro world, yeah. Yeah. No, it was funny. That shot from Richie. When I watch it live, I was just like, "What a snipe!" And then I look at it again. I'm like, "God, he got lucky. Holy shit!"
He did. Luch, let's be honest, Luch made that entire thing happen.
Absolutely.
Richie did put that in the right spot.
Sure.
He did.
Yeah. It was a good
Saw
shot.
the screen, and he saw where the goalie was, and he put the shot where the shot was supposed to go.
Yeah.
But Luch did all of the work on that goal.
Well, and that's it, right? So Luch deserved at least a point on that play. And so that's why Luch got his goal. Because, I mean, he didn't deserve that goal.
Yeah.
And but that Dubé position, that's all.
Yeah. And that Dubé goal too, like that was a well placed goal. And with the amount of like half breakaways that Dubé gets, you'd think he would be able to get like 20 goals just doing that. He's had such horrible luck and missing the net.
I was going to say, when you only hit the net 5% of the time, it's tough to get goals. Right?
Rough.
Yeah.
Well, let's get back to the trade deadline real quick.
Sure.
So, if you're going, I don't know, are you going after a depth defenseman or a backup goalie or another forward or what are you going after?
You know what, like I'm really intrigued on Kulak, like you brought up. I mean, depth defenseman is really all we need at this point. I don't think we do or bring anybody in for the forward group. We've had really good luck with secondary scoring this year. Unfortunately, it hasn't been from our second line a lot of the times, but
they're shut down line.
100%. You know me, I'm not going to shit on that line. I never would, especially because of the center.
Let's be honest, like Coleman's still on pace for 20 or almost 20, 19.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that line because they're playing well at what they're supposed to do. And when they get points, it's great. I mean, defensemen really, because it doesn't seem like Sutter thinks much of Mackey, which is weird to me.
Because I don't think it's that he doesn't think much of Mackey. I think it's that he's not, you and I talk a lot about it being very rare that a team and their AHL affiliate both go on a run.
True.
And I feel like subtracting Mackey from Stockton is going to do more damage to Stockton and hurt other, like, I know this sounds crazy, but to me it might hurt other players' development if they are supposed to go on this run and they just fall flat in the first round or something because they didn't have their best defenseman.
Yeah, no, and that's fair. I mean, also, I mean, it doesn't improve Mackey's development to come up here and watch games
or play, because let's be honest, if Mackey came in and were to slot on this third pair with Zadorov or Goodbranson.
Yeah, I don't think that would be a good pairing.
It's not that I don't think it would be a good pairing. I just know. I mean, I don't know, but my thought would be Sutter doesn't play Mackey like.
Yeah.
Like your bottom pair usually would get what, like 12 minutes, 13, 14 minutes a game.
Mm-hmm.
Sutter would probably play Mackey like 5, and
yeah, that's fair. Which is kind of unfortunate because I do think he would learn some decent stuff from Goodbranson, right?
I think so too.
I mean,
and Zadorov. I think the way Zadorov plays this year, has been playing this year, I think maybe not with the hitting, but with the jumping into the play and stuff like that. I think that's very much Mackey's game.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I agree. I mean, he does have a bit of size to him, and he doesn't have a problem going into the corners and mucking it up, which is great.
And he's also leading. I believe he's leading Stockton in penalty minutes because he fights all the time for his team.
That's right. Yeah. That's when I was actually surprised that he didn't have more of a chance this year. to make the squad. And even Brad said at the beginning of the year that he thought that Mackey would be a regular this season.
I liked him. I did, like, from the preseason and the couple games we got to see him last year.
Yeah,
I quite liked him, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
He had hitters, but who wouldn't?
Right. Yeah. Well, exactly. Yeah, and you're coming into the show, and it's a different atmosphere. It's a different game.
But and that's the thing. Like you were saying, having Mackey, playing, whether he's in the lineup playing 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes, and or if he's not in the lineup and he's sitting eating popcorn, I'd rather have somebody who's used to like we were saying, Stone.
Yeah.
But
the ultimate pro, right? He's been in the situation. He knows the routine. Yeah. It's not
like
really going to affect his game.
Out of Buffalo is a guy. I've actually heard a little bit of rumblings of Tree kind of bumping around that one, and same with Brett Kulak. And the thing about Brett Kulak out of Montreal, I really like the idea of Brett because he has that long playoff run. Montreal made the finals last year.
Yep.
He's he plays a Sutterish game. He's he can muck it up, and he's pretty physical.
He's physical and he's responsible, right?
Yeah. And he, when he was drafted in Calgary, he was drafted, I can't remember what year, but it was, around that, Gaudreau type of era, like back when Gaudreau was around to be a rookie. And Kulak actually played some years with Gaudreau, played some years with, I believe, Rasmus Anderson, Backlund. So he knows these guys.
Yeah, right? He does know them, right? I mean, he was drafted in 2012, and it took a couple of years before he played his first game in Calgary, which he didn't really become an actual regular until his final season with Calgary of 17-18. He played one game, then 8 games, and 21 games, and then boom, he's at 71, and away they go. And I was actually surprised when we got rid of him, because he was one of the defensemen back then that I was excited to watch develop, because he was really starting to get into his game.
We kind of traded him right around that time where he was becoming a full-time, full-time dependable guy, and now
Yeah, no, absolutely. I can't remember. Was that part of the?
I can't remember if we
traded Paul Byron or something.
I can't remember if it was an off-season like free agent signing for Montreal, or if it was a trade.
It couldn't have been at his age, right? Unless we let him walk as an RFA, right?
Yeah,
because I mean that was 5 years ago. So I mean that would have made him 19. No.
Oh really? Wow.
It would have made him 23. So he would have been an RFA. So
probably. I wonder who he got traded for. I can't.
I don't recall. I really don't
remember. Who did we get from Montreal around that time? Picks maybe? Like who knows?
I don't know. We'll talk about it in the next episode after I do some research, because sorry Kulak, I haven't really followed you much since you left Calgary, but I was excited when you were here.
So talking about Montreal defensemen, how fucking pumped are you that we did not spend a first round pick, a fourth round pick, and a prospect to get Ben fucking Sherratt?
That the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, how long have they been talking about Calgary and fucking Ben?
A month. I don't know. It's been,
and it just baffled me every time, because every time they talked about it, like first round pick and I'm like, are you shitting me? Like, I don't even want him, let alone want to give up that much.
See, I mean, I wouldn't want him if he was, if we had a hole in our defense.
Right.
That's right. In our defense is depth. Ben Sherratt is not a depth fucking defenseman.
No. I mean, to me, like, who's he taking out?
Fourth or fifth defenseman.
That's right. Yeah, who's he taking out of our lineup?
Well, he doesn't play a Shillington game, so he's not
No.
going to take Shillington out.
No.
He plays a Tanev game, but Tanev plays that game 50 times better. So why would you take him out?
Yeah.
And the 500-pound pairing of Gudbranson and Zadorov, like, you're not going to split that up anytime fucking soon.
I am using that in the future.
Okay.
Heard it here.
I'm actually
heard it here
shout
first from Dylan. 500-pound pairing.
No,
I love that.
No. I'm not going to take Justin. Fuck. I hope they watch this. I doubt they watch this.
Yeah.
But it was either Peter Lombardius or Derek Wills or Matty.
Oh, really?
Rose,
Nice.
One of those guys on Sportsnet 960, The Fan on Calgary radio there that was saying, they called him the 500-pound pair.
That is fucking brilliant. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. And I think they said they come up to like 450 or something like that.
Right.
But with their gear on, it's 500.
It has to be. Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah. And like, you're certainly not taking, Hannafin or Anderson out for Sherratt.
I mean, he's a huge minute eater, but that's it.
Yeah. And I mean, our first round pick this year is already gone. Who knows what our first round pick next year is going to be? It could be high. Next year's draft is supposed to be pretty good too.
Yep.
So let's not get rid of that for a player we don't fucking need.
Well, that's right.
Probably spend a third round pick or a fourth round pick to get Brett Kulak or Robert Hagg or name any depth defenseman that's on a team that we can get.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's $3.5 million, right? Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, $3.5 million. Yeah, I had zero interest in Ben Sherratt. I really did.
I like the player, but there's no fit on the team for that player.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
if
right.
we have a hole in the defense, get Ben Sherratt all day, but we don't have a hole where Ben Sherratt fits.
Yeah, that was my take at all times, is we have no place for him. Like, we have other needs we need to address before bringing in him.
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
So yeah, as far as being happy that we didn't get him, ecstatic. As soon as I heard that he went to Florida, I went, thank God, we put it to rest. It was much like my thought when we didn't get Eichel, right? It's just like, thank God, we put it to rest.
You see, I still wouldn't have hated having Eichel, but at the time we didn't think Lindholm was that for sure number one, and we certainly didn't think that Tkachuk was going to be on the first line, right? Like, I've been crying to get Tkachuk and Gaudreau on the same line, even though they're both technically left wingers for the last few years, because how would a power forward who can shoot and a elite playmaker, how does that not
translate?
How does that not scream Egin Latangay, right? Like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I'd be fine with that. But,
well, that's right. Yeah, that's right. And then you mix it up with the responsible Lindholm in the middle of that. Like, you can't go wrong with that line. You really can't.
Yeah. And that's why I was like I would have been okay with Eichel, because we didn't know that Sutter was going to do the smart thing that none of the other coaches ever did, right? But he did, and thank fuck he did.
Well, and I suppose that's the difference between an elite coach that everybody knows that they're winners, and the people that have come and go from our organization since Daryl Sutter.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, everybody talks about, all of our coaches over, play fair. We got fucking, well, even had Iron Mike here, for God's sake. And that could not have been worse. It was horrendous.
There was some not very good years, but I feel like Mike would have done all right with the team we have now.
That's fair. I think he would have done all right
Mike's
with some personal life coaching would be what he would need to get these guys, though. I feel like Mike would have been run out of town real quick, just because of who he's been in the past, and just kind of his coaching style, we'll say, that doesn't really resonate well with 20-year-olds of now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
How do you feel about shooting the shit for the last few minutes of the podcast here about some non-Flames related trade talks?
I mean, we can give it a shot. I mean, might as well talk some actual NHL. Well, you know what? Before we do though, can I just give a shout out to Ty for this shirt?
Yeah.
Like how kick-ass is this shirt?
It's fucking dope.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. I've got a canvas coming. I'm going to put here on the wall right here.
Yeah.
It's got our logo on it. Ty designed it. I've got a couple shirts coming. I've got a hat coming. I'm pretty pumped. That 100%. Shirt looks awesome. So I'm really excited to get mine.
Yeah.
Ty Kennington Designs. Everybody.
Yeah. The link will be in the description on YouTube. To his Shopify account, and I mean I got my shirt in like 5 days,
couple days.
4 to 5 days at most. It was amazing. Yeah, and I mean I love the design. Even if your thing is not the Flames, he has one for every skyline for every NHL team.
Yeah.
Plus he has different apparel, hoodies, t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, hats, you name it. Yeah. Check them out. Like I said, the link will be just below the subscribe button. So on your way to smash the subscribe button, just go ahead and click the link to Ty's Spotify.
Yeah. And while you're at it, hit the like button.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Share with your friends, all that good stuff, all that YouTube algorithm stuff that really would help us out. So
100%.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to some hot takes. Do you have any hot takes on where any of the, rumored players might be going or anything like that?
Like I normally, and I've been doing this for a lot of years when it comes to the trade deadline talks is I actually distance myself from the rumor mill because it frustrates me. Like even the ones for the Flames, right? The lead up talk and the 2 weeks, 3 weeks of this player. And so as far as me on the rumor mill, I don't really have a lot of answers on that. I do think we've got a couple teams that are in sell mode. Like where's Giroux going? Where do you think he's going? Like, do you think he's gonna? Because I heard rumblings that they're gonna make room or a bit more room to get him in Colorado, which I don't really see.
Well, Landeskog is out. He's not on LTIR right now,
right?
But he's out for the foreseeable future. They're projected to have him back around the playoffs, but it is a legitimate injury, believe it or not.
But I'm not one of those people that worry about the
LTIR thing.
Yeah, I mean, every team voted that in. So I mean, who am I?
It's in the CBA. You know what? Like,
yeah,
if we weren't fucking blessed with our injury situation right now and our lack thereof, then we could have a whole bunch of cap space, right? Like it's. I'm happy with not having the injuries, so whatever. But Giroux, I could honestly, I know that Giroux kind of controls where he's going because of his clauses in his contract and all that type of stuff. So if he's going to go anywhere, it's going to be a contender.
Yeah.
And Colorado just picked up a defenseman, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Is it Mason?
Manson. Josh Manson.
Yeah,
that's
Josh
right.
Manson.
From I love this pickup for them.
That's a great pickup, 100%. Yeah,
because they have all those defensemen that you don't like. I mean, not saying you don't like those defensemen, but you don't like those types of defensemen. Makar, Girard, all those guys, right? And they need one, solid defensive, physical, stay at home
Yeah,
Josh fucking Manson, and they
100%.
got him.
Well,
And it
and
was a
how,
really
how
like
many
that. That's
how many hits
savvy
did he have the other
that.
night? How many hits did he have?
I'm not sure.
I heard it was an incredible amount last night. Hold on, let me find that.
I actually didn't hear about that, but I was kind of busy last night, so
Yeah, yeah, maybe it wasn't last night. It must have been the night before. Let me see.
yeah.
So that's a great pickup. Where
Yeah.
so speaking of the home, the Calgary Flames, where do you think Gio ends up?
Toronto.
Think so?
Speaking of LTIR, well,
Yeah.
Gio has come out and said that he doesn't want to go anywhere but Calgary and Toronto, I believe. That's what I've
Yeah.
heard.
I heard that
And,
too.
I mean, he's not coming here. Let's be honest, with our cap situation and all that type of stuff. And we just made a fucking trade with Seattle, and he wasn't in it.
Yeah.
Um,
How
but
do you think that made him feel?
what's that?
How do you think that made him feel?
I don't know, but he's a Toronto guy, and he comes from Toronto, and
That's true.
he has a partner in Toronto that is proven to work with him in TJ Brody.
Yep.
TJ Brody, and I think that's a good fit. Also, because Jake Muzzin's out on LTIR, so there's their cap space they need for Giordano.
That's true. Yeah.
So, and there's the spot, right? There's the spot filled.
So did you? I can't remember. You mentioned to me maybe an hour or two ago when we were talking off air. So you're wearing your Brody jersey.
Yeah, because I fucking hate Toronto and he helped them lose. He scored for Buffalo. So go Brody. I love you.
Yeah. So okay. So 2 nights ago, Colorado and LA Kings. Manson, 10 hits.
Oh,
his debut for Colorado. Not a bad debut, right?
That's like a Josh Anderson game right there.
Yeah, it's amazing. It was like, God damn it, yeah. And Sutter's quote just after that night too is spot on, right?
What did he say?
When he's talking about anybody that's going to come up against Colorado and be in the playoffs would just be a waste of 8 days. It's so fucking good.
But his sound bites this year have been fucking stellar.
Yeah.
But yeah, Giroux, just to wrap that thing up with Giroux, I do see Colorado. There's not a whole bunch of teams out there that have the cap space for him that are contending that he would waive for.
Yeah.
So I see it being Colorado, especially with his, center left wing capabilities and with Colorado's top line center left wing, left wing mostly, and in Landeskog being out, it just makes an absurd amount of sense.
It does make sense, right? And he's been linked to Colorado, Boston, Florida.
Boston kind of makes
sense.
Carolina,
too. I think too.
Boston needs a way to reunite that perfection line. And
I think Boston's on their way out as far as being the elite team, right? I think they need to start focusing on.
But you're right.
Yeah, they need to start focusing on the future and not trading the farm to pick up. Not to say that Guru wouldn't be a good pickup, but I don't know. That's my take on Boston. I mean, they've been such a dominant force for so many years that it's time, right?
I agree, and I think it's time for them to kind of get going with, kind of build around Pasternak and probably McAvoy, because those are the two, younger core pieces that they can build around, and then sell all their as much as they love.
That's not a bad group of guys to build around either, right?
No, what team that's contending wouldn't want a second line center in Patrice Bergeron? Right. What team that lacks an emotional edge, as much as I fucking hate Marchand, What
Right.
team that lacks an emotional edge wouldn't want Brad Marchand,
It's true.
right? So, and both those guys are worth an embarrassment of riches for the future.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
So,
No, it's true.
what do you think? Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I've also heard rumblings. I mean, not a lot, but just kind of in the mix, talks about John Klingberg out of Dallas,
Okay,
coming
that brings me
to
one of my hot
Calgary.
takes.
Okay. He's also been linked to Florida. Apparently, Florida's in every conversation right now for trades, which is
Well, you'd have to think Florida's out of that now because they picked up Sherratt, but
fair enough. Yeah,
who
good
knows?
point. That is a very good point. Toronto's obviously linked to that, because they need a defenseman. They've only
Mhm.
needed a defenseman for 35 years, but that's
Yeah.
fine. But they're linked to Carolina, Calgary, Tampa, which I don't know if he would. I mean, he'd fit well in Tampa, but who's Tampa putting on IR this year to bring in another player?
I don't know.
Mhm.
and Klingberg, okay. I really like Klingberg.
Yeah.
I like the game.
Yeah.
And here's my hot take. I know that I don't know if you know this, but Miro Heiskanen is on IR right now. And he's supposed to be out for the next little while.
Okay.
And Dallas is on a playoff push. Like they're trying to get in. I don't know where they are right now, but they're close. And the whole reason they wanted to trade Klingberg in the first place is because they want to pay Chychrun. Or sorry, Chychrun's my hot take going there, but they wanted to pay Heiskanen, but they don't want to give Klingberg a raise because Heiskanen's the guy, right?
Yeah.
So my idea, especially with Chychrun being cheap, he's for what he brings, he's cheap. I think he's 4.5 or something like that, and he's signed long term, so you can get that number one-ish guy, number two defenseman to play with Heiskanen, get Chychrun from Arizona, who's being shopped. He's cheap. You don't have to give him a raise like you would Klingberg. So you fill Klingberg's spot and then you trade Klingberg.
That's an interesting.
That's my hot take for that. I think that's a great fit.
Did that keep you up last night? Trying to think of that scenario. I mean, that's a lot of moving pieces. It's not a bad concept though.
No, that just actually came to me just before we started talking. Actually, that's my hot take for the day. I just think that's it fits, and that they're trying to get rid of Klingberg because there's been a problem with the contract talks. Klingberg wants more than they're willing to give him, so they might as well break ties with him.
Yeah, that's fair.
Get somebody who can not only play a number one role now while Heiskanen is out, but can also play a number two role when Heiskanen comes back, and then they can play together. And he's only worth 4.5 for however many years.
Right.
It's it's a perfect fit in my eyes, anyways.
Yeah, it is, right? And yeah, that's a good point because I mean he's this year he's at 4.25, which I mean over the last couple of years I would have paid him that. He's a pretty damn good defenseman in my opinion.
He led the league in defenseman scoring last year. Goals.
Yeah.
Did he get over 20? I think he got over 20 last year.
Okay, let's find out. I think
in Arizona.
Right. How much would you be willing to spend on him to bring him in as a rental?
In Calgary?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Wait a minute. I think you're mistaken on that, John Klingberg on that.
No, I'm talking about Chychrun.
Oh, okay. See?
Oh, as a rental for Klingberg.
Yeah.
I don't. Oh, fuck. See, at the beginning of the year, I really liked Klingberg in the Flames because we needed a power play defenseman, and for the first month of the season, month and a half of the season, we needed a power play defenseman.
Yeah.
But our defense has come together, and I don't think we need that anymore. So I wouldn't bring Klingberg in, honestly.
Yeah, I think again on our team, he's the seventh guy.
Klingberg?
Yeah.
I don't know about that. I think Klingberg could put, you could put him in Shillington's spot. Honestly, he's
Actually, you know what? You imagine what that would look like with Tanev? I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, but again, I don't think we need him. That's not kind of the same.
I think the price would be too much to get him for for 2 months worth of service. Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to re-sign him.
That's true. Yeah,
especially with who we have to re-sign soon, and there's no real fit for him, and the defense is so good right now. But I thought that at the beginning of the year, I really, really thought that Klingberg, Klingberg, Hannafin or Klingberg, Anderson pair would have been fantastic. But at this point in time, the team's gelling, and all that's going to do is fuck with that.
Yeah, that's true.
What do you think, though? Would you?
To be honest, I mean, if they were just trying to get rid of him because salary talks were going south, but I wouldn't be willing to give much for it, just because of that. I truly don't think we need him.
Yeah.
If you're in a situation where somebody went down and all of a sudden we needed somebody like now, okay, fine, but we're not there, thankfully. Touch wood. So it's I mean I really like him as a player, but I just don't think that
I do too. Yeah. And that's the thing, I don't know, you hear people all the time targeting players they like just because they like them, even if there's no fit on the team for that player. Right. And for me, again, at the beginning of the year, I thought there was a great fit for him, but now there isn't. So
yeah.
And I like Klingberg. I've always liked Klingberg, but
I mean, and obviously our third pairing has caused that, right? So I mean, I didn't see Gudbranson being the man he is right now.
Me neither. Same with Zadorov. You saw Zadorov, but I didn't. And the whole thing for me is who are you pushing out? I know you're not the hugest Shillington fan, but I don't think you can really push him out. If you do, you're putting in you look like you want to say something.
No, itchy ear.
No, okay.
Itchy ear.
Yeah, no, you're putting Klingberg in for Shillington, and then Shillington is back to what he was the last 15 fucking years, where he's sitting on the bench for literally no reason, or in the press box for literally no reason, because they've gone out and got a defenseman who doesn't.
Yeah, I'm sure it would just kill his psyche, right? I mean, I don't really. I mean, I hope Shillington really develops into a grade A second pairing defenseman. I really do. I find his defensive shortcomings to be large. I love the fact he scores and gets points, but
he has the occasional. It's very occasional, but the occasional defensive gem.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every once in a while, that play you were talking about earlier with Stone and McKinnon.
Yeah.
Shillington has made that play on elite players, including McDavid, quite a few times this year, but that barely makes up for.
It's the gaps, right? When the gaps are there, they're big.
Yeah, exactly. His gaffes are that big.
Yeah.
Whereas, maybe Klingberg wouldn't make those, as many gaffes like that, but Klingberg he's also somewhat injury prone, and
well, that's right.
Who knows? And he's not as fast as Shillington, right?
Well, and that's the only thing with Shillington is if he's out of position, which I mean I truly believe he is often, he does at least have the ability to
get back in there,
to get back, on, I would say 60% of the time he's able to get back, which is great.
I think he's able to get back more than 60% of the time, maybe like 80% of the time, but he gets back in the right position. He doesn't without
that's fair.
Overstating it 60% of the time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'll give you that for sure.
He gets back into the right area almost every time, but he's not in the right spot.
Right. He gets back into the zone. It's just not always our zone.
He pulls the Dubé and flies right past the entire play.
Lombardi.
Matthew loves it. Shout. Yep.
Yeah.
So here's, I don't know how much more you have for us on the trade deadline, and this isn't. I mean, I guess it's somewhat about the trade deadline because this player is no longer on the block, and honestly, I don't think he has been ever since Evander Kane got shipped out.
Right.
But because I honestly believe, and I really, really believe that Thomas Hertl wanted out because of Evander Kane. Now Evander Kane's not there. Thomas Hertl likes it. It's fucking nice.
Yep.
It's California, nice place. The fans don't fucking know who you are. Well, people in the city don't know who you fucking are most of the time.
Exactly. Fans know who he is, but the city's big enough where he can walk around without people yelling his name.
In a short, in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt.
Yeah. And
he's re-signed in San Jose for 8 years at 8. I think it's 8.1 or something like that, but it's about 8. What's your thought on that deal?
So the 8 mil is great, I think. I definitely don't have a problem with that. How old is he?
He's still pretty young. I want to say
he's like 27.
No, I think he's like 25.
Is he?
I could be wrong. You look it up though.
Yeah, I'm looking at.
He would have. I think this would be his first UFA contract.
He's 28.
Oh, he's 28. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So that's where
36. Okay.
Yeah. So, I think the first 5 years are going to be great.
Yep.
But I think it's those last 3 that are going to really hurt San Jose.
A la Jacob Markstrom.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know what? I'm still choosing to ignore that because last year I was screaming about it, and this year he's playing well. So I'm trying to.
Yeah. And that was my whole
so
thing.
Hard for me.
It's is it too long? Yes, but you have to give that extra year to get that extra year or two sometimes to get that player that you want. And it's the same with what
the price and the term for Markstrom are, the price is fine. The term I wasn't happy with. It's the no moves that really irritate the shit out of me with that one.
The no move at the end, and Hertl got those too, I believe.
Yeah.
I believe he got full no moves.
Modified, no trades.
Modified, no trade. Okay, what?
Oh no. Sorry. They don't have his. There it is. Okay, modified, no move, and then modified, no trade / no move. Interesting.
So he hasn't. Okay.
So
to start, he has a no move, and then at the end he has a modified no trade.
Yeah. So 25 and 26.
Oh, not bad.
25-26 to 27-28, he has a 3-team trade list.
Okay.
And then 28-29 to 29-30, he has a 15-team trade list.
And before that, it's a no move.
Yeah. Full.
That's a really structured contract.
I was just going to say that, right? Because I mean, so yeah, we got.
And like,
so when he's 32, 33, he's got the 3-team. And then the rest of it, he's got the 15. 15's not bad. I don't mind that.
That's almost half the league.
Yeah. That's interesting. Okay.
The cliff hurdle would have to fall off of for you not to be able to get any value from even when he's 34 years old. Give a contender hurdle for 2-3 years.
Yeah.
You're gonna
and he's less than 10% of the salary cap with that contract, right? At 9.98. So there's nothing wrong with that.
The number is fucking great.
Yeah, I think so too.
He
easily could have made 9.5.
9.5.
Yeah.
Did you just say exactly what I said?
I did 100% say the same thing you did. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. That's when we know the show is going late, is when the two of us are 100% agreeing on numbers even.
Yeah. Well, I guess with that, we should probably call her. You guys watching us should give us the old like and subscribe, and you should also let us know what you think of maybe the hot take on the Chikrin to Dallas thing. Let us know what you think about Calle Jarnkrok. I can't even talk anymore. Let us know what you think about the hurdle deal, because honestly, like we were just saying, that number is great, and I wasn't aware of the structure and in the last few years, but that is such a San Jose friendly contract from start to finish. That's fantastic. Yeah. So you guys let us know what you think in the comments down below.
I hope Johnny's agent paid attention to that contract. Just saying.
I think that's a comparable.
I think so too.
I think that's a comparable. Yeah. I mean, Hurdle's more of a goal scorer, and Johnny's more of a playmaker, but they're both elite at what they do.
That's right.
So, and I think I'd have to look at the stats, but I think their stats have to be relatively, like, their point totals have to be relatively close.
Yeah, their point per game are close, and they're comparable.
And they're the same age, 28.
Right? Yeah,
Johnny's 29 now. No, 27, yeah.
Yeah, I think Johnny's 27.
27, 28, yeah. So, yeah, a good comparable for Gaudreau. Hopefully, I don't think anybody thinks Gaudreau's going for 8, but
I also didn't think that Hurdle was going for 8 either. So.
I didn't either. I figured Hurdle was going to be 9.5, 9.25, something like that.
So he clearly likes San Jose, right?
Yeah,
clearly. You don't sign for less if you don't like the place you're at.
Exactly.
So no, you're right. I think that Kane deal was the cause of it. I mean, he's been the cause of a lot of I want out of town conversations in every team he's played for. So.
Yeah, man, am I ever happy Edmonton picked him up.
Right. Yeah.
Like, honestly, Kane fucking destroys the Flames. I cannot even fucking comment on how much I truly hate how much Kane destroys my favorite team, because he does. He rips us a fucking apart most of the time. Yeah. But he also rips his own team apart. So whatever.
That's right. Yeah. Well, good luck, Edmonton.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, because what you needed was cancer. Like, not even just cancer, but like what name a really fast acting, like, for sure death tomorrow cancer. That's what Kane is. Yeah. So I mean, that's the Edmonton way. What do we need? Goaltending. What do we need? Defense. What do we get? Kane. Okay.
whatever.
Yeah, and that's kind of funny because that's, to me, going back to Giroux for just a second. I heard rumblings of, instead of going after Giordano, Toronto was going to go after Giroux, and I'm like, so you have like 3 fucking epic scoring lines,
Yeah,
and
that
no D.
that would be such a Maple Leafs thing to do, though,
It
wouldn't
would
it?
be, right? And
Like,
that's just what you were talking about there
yeah,
with Edmonton, right? Like, Edmonton doesn't have 3 epic scoring lines.
no.
Edmonton has like 3 epic scorers.
I was
So
going to say they have 2 epic scorers. Sometimes
yeah,
they play on the same line. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So,
All right.
yeah, we should call it.
So, like you said, give us a subscribe. Let's pump those numbers up. Give us a share. Like us on Facebook. Follow the group on Facebook. Armchair GM Podcast on Facebook. I'm going to be getting us on Spotify here in the next little bit as well. So you'll be able to even just listen to us while you drive or whatever you're doing. But yeah, comment, like, share, and keep loving hockey.
Also, real quick, thanks to our listeners. I haven't checked today, but yesterday at some point I looked, and our premiere episode hit 100 views. So
yeah,
thank you for the support. Thank you for the love. And
I mean, I watched it 87 times. Does that count against the numbers?
I definitely had it on in the background about 3 or 4 times. Maybe not 87, but still 100 views on our first episode. I'm pretty proud of that.
That's awesome.
Our goal is to pump those numbers up. Hopefully we get I don't know, 100, 140, 150 this episode. If we get higher than that, fuck, I love you guys.
Once we start getting to 250 views, then Dylan and I are going to start going live on YouTube and Facebook.
Yep.
We'll interact. We'll have conversations with people watching.
Yep.
Love it. All right, everybody.
Cheers, guys.
Yeah. Have a good night. Cheers.